We're excited to present Lewis Cellars today here with our distributor Mendez. I'm here for the first time speaking about Lewis. I've known Randy Lewis and the Lewis family who've made these wines for over 30 years, for quite a long time, and had experience with pairing them with food and wine in my experience with Charlie Trotter's and other restaurants over the years, and really thrilled that we can show today the Napa Valley Chardonnay, the Cabernet Sauvignon, Napa Valley, and the unique Alex blend. All three of these are signature wines of Lewis that have given a lot of heavy, intense flavor, quality, and apparent connection to food. And we have the opportunity here to talk about big intensity and use of barrel and use of rich, ripe fruit to make these wines.
It's not your first time in Puerto Rico, but today you presented a new look and a new sexy. What's this sexy new vibe that you guys are talking about?
Well, since we took the brand over, we thought, what's exciting about Lewis? Lewis is making wines that have a lot of flavor, a lot of extract, a lot of excitement, and they're almost raw. And particularly the Chardonnays, we feel like they take a page out of a kind of traditional book that is parallel to what Burgundy has done over the years to make wines that are of the place. Now, these are wines of multiple places, but the winemaking itself allows fruit to be expressed in a very rich and developed way, and the use of native yeast, stirring lees, keeping the wine on the lees for many months, and then in barrel that a lot of it, 60-70% new, gives it a little imprint, a little more spice, big flavors, fairly rich in terms of alcohol, but it still holds acidity. So it's an amazing food wine, and we have a lot of vibrancy. And I think we think these days of wine being sometimes very delicate or silky or tart or somehow devoid of character because it's got high acid and it's very minerally. Well, none of this is the case with Chardonnay especially. We want the wine to be voluptuous and deliver a lot of flavor and feel like it's an exciting moment. So there's been a history of Chardonnay in California feeling like it has that characteristic, that it can be flashy and sexy in a way that other white wines are not and can't be. And that's why we are kind of going that way with at least the white wines, calling them sexy and voluptuous.
You spoke about buttery. You spoke about the buttery, about that buttery quality. What can you tell us about that?
Well,
what you're trying to avoid?
That's right. And I think that's become a concept that a lot of folks associate with Chardonnay, and that has often been associated with malolactic conversion. That is the conversion of acids from the malic or apple-driven acids to dairy acids. So you get a creaminess sometimes with those wines. The difference being the way it's practiced classically in Burgundy is typically it is on a wine that's been on the lees for many months, and the lees tend to inhibit the development of the aroma that we think of as buttery. So I don't think of these wines as buttery. I think of them as rich, for sure, in terms of texture and flavor, but more spicy in a way. And because of the barrel use, we get a little more brown spice notes and don't have buttery or diacetyl aromas, as they're technically called.
So in your visits to Puerto Rico now, what have you learned about this market? What particularities are you seeing about, and the interaction today with our clients here at Mendez? What did you see? What have you learned from our wine market?
Well, I've been in and out of here a number of times over the years, and I know it's a vibrant cuisine. A lot of flavor is prized here. I know that it's a major red wine consuming island, and very fine red wine. And I believe the Justin red wines are the kind of rich, full-bodied, textured wines that Puerto Ricans like, because we like fairly rich sauces here, a lot of proteins, whether that's pork or beef or other meats, and those big red wines go well with it. I think what we've seen also is a development of other influences of flavor here on island, where you have Asian influences, other South American or island influences, and a lot more delicacy of flavor. So I'm learning that we're seeing from restaurants here a little bit of a hands-off approach. Let fresh ingredients be fresh. Let raw ingredients be raw sometimes, and allow sauces to be more delicate and driven by fruit and spice as opposed to by butter and cream. Not that I'm saying everything is like that, but I think this has been a trend in culinary worldwide, and that's certainly starting to be practiced here. There's a lot of enthusiasm for wine, though, for sure.
I was going to ask you about that. What trends are you seeing then? What can we expect in the next couple of years from
Yep.
you guys? And in terms of the general wine market, what are you seeing out of Napa?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I think Napa is always at crossroads, but the crossroads now have to do with climate being a big concern. Water absorption, water availability has always been a question. It's variable from year to year. And I think where the market will be for Napa wines in the next 20 to 30 years, that is, are price points at the high luxurious level all going to be sustainable? Are Napa wines going to continue to have rarefied status in the market? Or are there going to be some practical Napa wines in addition to the trophies that we know about? And I think we want to lie somewhere between what is easily attracted style of wine at a lower price point. We're going to be between that and what I'd call trophy wines that are, many more figures of magnitude more expensive than what Lewis does. So I think Napa is trying to understand its markets, and they are global now. They're not just local within the U.S., and they're not just steakhouse markets or fancy food markets. I mean, we're competing with other major global wines that get around the world, like Rioja, like Bordeaux, like even what's come out of Argentina or Australia over the last few decades. So I think there's a lot of excitement in Napa to be more innovative, to be creative about blends, to be more judicious about managing the soil. Sustainability is a big question in the future, and currently we're seeing a lot of vineyards being very responsible about water use, avoiding use of chemicals, not planting on too high a grade, understanding erosion, and being good neighbors within a very complex ecosystem.